21 points, just enough for the Hawks to win. The big story, though, Giannis landing awkwardly in the third quarter. Check it out here. Turns out he hyperextended his knee. He was done for the night. He'll undergo tests later today. So again, Hawks running away with it after that. Chris Broussard, let me start with you. We still don't know how healthy Trae will be. Can the Bucks still win this series if they're going to be without Giannis now? And again, we don't know yet, but the assumption is
right.
At least a game.
Well, Jenna, look, one thing we've all learned in these playoffs is to never say never. Okay, so is it possible? Sure. But if Giannis is out and if Trae Young is out, and Trae may come back, but let's say both are out, I'm going with Atlanta. I'm going with Atlanta. I just think without those two stars, they're the better team. Now, can we put to rest, I don't know if it was on this show, but some people were starting to wonder who's the most important player on the Bucks. Is it Chris Middleton because he's more of a closer, or Giannis? Let's put that to bed. Clearly, Giannis is the guy on this team. For anybody who doubted that, I don't know why they would even doubt that. But we saw last night that Chris Middleton is what we thought he was. Sometimey. He's sometimey. And that's not a knock. I mean, we've been saying it, but a player at his level, an on-again, off-again all-star, is going to be up and down. He's been that way the entire playoffs. A great game, a poor game. A great game, two poor games. Two great games, a poor game. That's what he does. And Drew Holiday is the same way, except he doesn't have as many great games as Chris Middleton has. So I would go with Atlanta. Look, there's no stars left in the East if Trae and Giannis are out. But I do like Atlanta's roster without the stars better than I like Milwaukee's. I like Bogdan Bogdanović. You know, I like Danilo Gallinari. I like Kevin Huerter. We know they can shoot. I trust their shooting. Cam Reddish looked pretty good last night as he's coming back. But I like John Collins. Didn't play well last night, but I trust him. And obviously Clint Capella and Sweet Lou, Lemon Pepper Lou, he can deliver. And here's the most important thing for Atlanta. They have a massive, maybe not massive, may be too strong, although Nick probably doesn't feel so. But they do have a big coaching advantage. Nate McMillan is doing an outstanding job. He's making better adjustments between games. He makes better adjustments in games. He gets his teams more motivated and up to play than Budenholzer does in Milwaukee. So for those reasons, I would go with Atlanta if Giannis is out, even if Trae Young is out as well.
Yeah, Broussard, maybe Middleton comes out and has sort of a Paul George-type performance where it's like, I know everyone thinks I'm a Robin, but maybe I'm more Batman than everybody expects and can sort of like up his game, which we've seen him do in this series. But I'm going to throw it to Brandon here, and Brandon, I have some bad news for you. Because every Wednesday, not a lot of people know this. Every Wednesday, Jenna, Nick, and I, and Broussard attends when he can. We go down to House of Athlete, and Brandon hosts a book club. And Brandon gives us, we all sit around and we do puzzles and we drink coffee. And Brandon talks about all the books he makes us read on the show. And one of his favorite ones is like Mind Body Connection. And we got to read The Art of War. And we read some Daniel Steele novels as well, just for fun. And Brandon's always like, you know, this is the book I'm always talking about. Never get too high, never get too low. That's the key. I am now out of the book club because I am rejecting that wholeheartedly. You've been like, no, this is the key to success. Never get too high, never get too low. And that's what the Bucks do all the time. They just kind of move around right here. They just kind of, oh, never get too high, never get too low. Oh, we can go to Atlanta. We have a chance to take a 3-1 lead, and Trae Young's not there. And it drifts into lackadaisical. On the other hand, the Hawks play with a passion and a ferocity that no other team does in this league. They saw Giannis go down, and they felt personally bad for Giannis, and everybody was quiet. And, you know, Trae Young sent a nice tweet after the game. But once the ball was back in play, they're like, we're going to destroy this team. And you've seen them come back and back, and they want the hate, and Trae Young wants it. They play with such a passion and a ferocity. They're the exact opposite of the never too high, never too low. They're like, let's go high, and let's keep it in gear. So I'm sorry, I'm out of the book club. I now believe in the Hawks philosophy, not the Bucks.
First off, the book is Body Mind Mastery by Dan Millman, who also wrote the Way of the Peaceful Warrior. Okay,
Peaceful
so
Warrior,
all right.
Yes.
Maybe they need to read this book here by Peter Thiel, 0 to 1, where he talks about how to scale up. So maybe that's what the Bucks need. They need to learn how to scale up. There's a lot of great best practices, business practices in that book. That's what they probably need. But I'm with Chris here. I think it's going to be hard for the Bucks to get it done because this team, with all the people, all the guys on that roster that Chris named, they're just hungry. They play together. In a couple weeks, last week I showed a clip. We don't have it. Don't even try to roll it, guys. But there was a clip of them, how they were communicating on defense and how they were moving. It was just on one accord. And Nate McMillan has been in his bag. I don't know what happened in Seattle. I don't know what happened back in the day in Indiana. But this dude is now a bona fide winner. So I can't see them struggling moving forward with the Bucks. Now, is it going to be a series? Absolutely. But you said it, right, Chris? Chris Middleton. You can't look like Kobe one night and then go 6 for 17 the next. Like, this team needs you, especially when Giannis goes down. So I have the Heat being in control moving forward, Nick.
Yeah,
so listen, golly. We got you. That's the Heat.
We know who you're talking about.
Is Jimmy Butler? Is he still playing? Like, what's going on?
Don't worry about it. Jimmy Butler's at least healthy. He's one of the only All-Stars who's healthy.
I'm in a bubble.
It's because you're reading too many books, Brandon. Less reading.
Let's assume Trae Young misses the same amount of games Giannis misses. If that's the case, then the Bucks absolutely can win the series. Now, if Trae is back for Game 5, when I don't think there's any chance Giannis is going to be back for Game 5, obviously the Hawks become the favorites. But I don't think it's impossible for the Bucks to win. I just think the following need to happen, Broussard. The first is this. Jrue Holiday has to start looking like Jrue Holiday on both sides of the ball. Jrue Holiday has skirted a lot of scrutiny this postseason because he's the third guy on the team and because his defense has been so good and the Bucks have been winning. But Jrue Holiday offensively has been miserable this postseason. The Bucks gave him the giant max extension and they traded away for him a similar package that Brooklyn gave up for James Harden. Like, they need more from Jrue right now. And you guys are right. If the Bucks are going to win 2 of the next 3, then Chris Middleton has to be excellent in 2 of the next 3. I think he can be. 2 of the next 3 would be at home. He's been very good at home throughout this entire postseason. But the last piece, Broussard, and that you touched on it, I'm going to emphasize it, is when a team suffers a devastating blow like this, all of a sudden, coaching does become more important. The tactical part of coaching and the emotional part of coaching. And I know people think sometimes I'm too hard on Mike Budenholzer, and he seems like a great dude that people love. But as far as a tactician, a guy that can be malleable and make adjustments, never really seen it. And I obviously am not in the locker room, but I haven't heard a lot of stories of, let me tell you, my God, the speech Mike Budenholzer gave us at halftime. Oh, man, I still get goosebumps thinking about it. So I don't know what the chess move is. I feel like, you guys are going to laugh at me. I think the answer might be to go with your normal rotation, your normal starters, just with Thanasis in place of Giannis. Be like, listen, this is your chance, big bro. Show the whole world you can do it. We're going to have an Antetokounmpo on the court no matter what. Thanasis, you got a shot. I feel like emotionally, it'll give him a lift. Now, will it kill him actually on the court? I don't know. So you don't have a lot of great options. But Budenholzer, you can't sell your team on next man up. You have to have a real conversation. Listen, guys. We lost the MVP. We lost our heart and soul. Maybe he'll be back for the finals. That's what I would try to sell him. He might be back for the finals. Let's get Giannis to the finals. Giannis has gotten us this far. Giannis has carried us the last few years. Let's carry him for a week. Like, that's the motivation I would use and see how far it can take us, even though I fear Giannis might be done for the year no matter what. But that's what I would press if I were Budenholzer, Broussard.
Like I said, I think we know a lot about Chris Middleton. You brought him up, Nick. We know he's going to be up and down. But this is going to tell us even more. Because last night, what it looked like was, it's not just that Chris Middleton is inconsistent because he's that level of player, but he was really